Fame often shines brightest on those who seem least likely to carry it. Some stories of stardom feel inevitable, as though the person was destined to walk red carpets and stand under blinding lights. But others begin in shadows, woven with pain, insecurity, and an unrelenting hunger for something more. Cher's life belongs to the latter. Born Cheryl Sarkeesian in 1946, in the dusty sun-soaked town of El Centro, California, her beginnings offered little suggestion of the glittering path ahead. Behind the dazzling gowns, behind the bold voice that would one day shake music halls and stages, there was a little girl left in an orphanage, a child stitching together shoes with rubber bands, and a teenager staring at a mirror wondering if beauty would ever belong to her. How does a girl from such turbulence grow into one of the most iconic women in music, film, and television? And what does it cost to survive decades in the spotlight while still searching for love, belonging, and peace? Her story begins with family fractures that never truly healed. Cher's father, John Sarkeesian, was an Armenian-American truck driver whose gambling and drug habits kept him away more often than he was present. Her mother, Georgia Holt, of Irish, English, German, and Cherokee descent, dreamed of being a model and actress but struggled against financial hardship and the crushing responsibilities of single motherhood. When Cher was only 10 months old, her parents divorced, and her father briefly placed her in an orphanage. That early abandonment left scars both mother and daughter would carry forever. Though Georgia remarried, Cher's sense of security was fragile, easily shaken by constant moves between New York, Texas, and California. Poverty hung over them like an uninvited guest, and Cher often remembered how her shoes barely held together, patched up by rubber bands because money was never enough. Yet even inside this instability, a spark glowed. By 5th grade, Cher was already creating and staging musicals at school. She had a voice that didn't quite fit the standard mold. It was lower, deeper, unusual for a young girl, but powerful. She admired screen legends like Audrey Hepburn and Marlene Dietrich, but at the same time, she struggled with how little Hollywood represented girls who looked like her. With her dark hair and unconventional beauty, Cher often felt unseen. That sense of invisibility didn't break her. It ignited her. The dream of becoming famous wasn't a passing wish. It became her oxygen, the thing that kept her pressing forward even when everything else seemed stacked against her. In 1961, another change arrived when her mother married Gilbert LaPierre, a bank manager who adopted Cher and her siblings. For a time, she became Cheryl LaPierre, a name that echoed in the halls of Montclair College Preparatory School in California. There, surrounded by wealthy peers, she stood out for more than her looks. She was bold, curious, and unapologetically different, though academics were never her strength. Dyslexia, undiagnosed at the time, made traditional schooling difficult, but it never dulled her creative spark. By her mid-teens, restless and unwilling to live a life dictated by classrooms and expectations, she left school and began building her path in Hollywood. Acting lessons, dancing in nightclubs, surrounding herself with the people who might open doors, she was fearless in chasing opportunity. Then fate delivered Sonny Bono in 1962. Their meeting seemed ordinary at first. Cher, just 16, worked as his housekeeper before stepping into the recording studio. But this was no ordinary connection. Sonny introduced her to producer Phil Spector, and soon she was singing backup on hits like Be My Baby and You've Lost That Lovin' Feelin'. Her voice, often criticized as too deep for traditional pop, suddenly found a place. In 1965, Cher and Sonny transformed into the duo that would define a generation. Sonny and Cher. With I Got You Babe, they didn't just make music, they made an anthem of youth and rebellion. It was playful, tender, and instantly iconic. At the same time, Cher's solo career began to blossom. Songs like Bang Bang, My Baby Shot Me Down showcased the emotional depth of her voice, while hits such as Gypsies, Tramps and Thieves proved she could captivate audiences entirely on her own. The music industry, once skeptical, now understood her power. She was not just another singer of the 60s. She was a force carving out her own identity. Television soon followed, with The Sonny and Cher Comedy Hour, capturing over 30 million viewers weekly. Their chemistry, humor, and style turned them into household names. But Cher was never content to stay within one lane. Her ambitions stretched to acting, and while many doubted her, she proved them wrong. She took on Broadway in Come Back to the Five and Dime, Jimmy Dean, and later stunned critics with her Oscar-nominated performance in Silkwood. Then came Moonstruck in 1987, a role that won her the Academy Award for Best Actress and silenced any remaining doubts about her talent. Even as music evolved, she reinvented herself, returning with the groundbreaking hit Believe in the late 90s, introducing auto-tune to the world in a way that made her timeless once again. But behind these triumphs was a personal life as dramatic as any performance. At just 16, Cher shared a light-hearted fling with Warren Beatty, an anecdote she would later recount with laughter. Soon after, Sonny became more than a professional partner. Their marriage brought a son, Chaz, but also a storm of control, tension, and infidelity. Cher described feeling like she was trapped in servitude, her autonomy swallowed by Sonny's authority. By 1975, their marriage ended in a bitter divorce, though time softened their anger into friendship. When Sonny died tragically in a skiing accident in 1998, Cher stood at his funeral, her grief reminding the world of the bond that had once defined her life. Love re-entered her world with David Geffen, an entertainment executive who offered comfort during her painful divorce. Their relationship was passionate, supportive, and deeply personal, though ultimately it could not last. Geffen's later revelation that he was gay complicated their history, but their time together remained a meaningful chapter in her life. Next came Greg Allman of the Allman Brothers Band, a marriage filled with love but haunted by addiction. Their union gave Cher another son but couldn't survive Greg's struggles with substance abuse, ending in 1979. Cher's love life often made headlines, but what the public sometimes missed was the sincerity in each connection. In 1979, she openly shared her relationship with Gene Simmons of Kiss, describing it as her best human connection. Even when he left her for Diana Ross, Cher remained gracious, maintaining respect for the man she once loved. Then there was Val Kilmer in the 1980s, a younger actor whose warmth and friendship with her children deepened their bond. Though the romance ended, their friendship endured for life. When Val faced a devastating battle with throat cancer, Cher was there, a testament to a love that had transformed but never disappeared. Other relationships filled the pages of her story. With producer Josh Donen, she found a quieter, steadier romance. With Tom Cruise, a fellow dyslexic and rising star, she experienced a fleeting but memorable affair that she later described as one of the best in her life. Then came Rob Camilleri, affectionately known as Bagel Boy, due to his humble job when they met. Despite media ridicule, Cher valued the stability and kindness he offered, cherishing their 3 years together. Later romances, including those with Richie Sambora of Bon Jovi and screenwriter Ron Zimmerman, highlighted Cher's openness to love in many forms, whether long-lasting or fleeting. In recent years, her relationship with Alexander Edwards has caught the world's attention, not only because of the 40-year age difference but because of the unapologetic way Cher embraces it. Meeting at Paris Fashion Week in 2022, their connection grew quickly, leading to an engagement announced on Christmas Day, just after the heartbreaking loss of her mother. The timing was poignant, a reminder that life brings love and loss in unexpected harmony. Despite public criticism, Cher stood firm, declaring that love doesn't know math. Their bond has weathered challenges, brief splits, and media speculation, but today it remains strong, fueled by shared music, culture, and affection that proves joy can arrive at any age. Through it all, Cher's resilience shines brightest. She has faced heartbreak, betrayal, criticism, and personal battles that might have silenced another woman. Yet she continues to stand, reinventing herself with every decade, refusing to be defined by limitations or the expectations of others. Her life tells us that love can be turbulent, fame can be isolating, and childhood wounds never fully fade. But it also reminds us that strength is built from struggle, and true icons are not born perfect. They are shaped by fire, loss, and an unbreakable will to keep going. Cher's legacy is more than her music, more than her films, and more than the headlines about her romances. It is the way she has lived, boldly, honestly, unapologetically herself. Whether standing on a stage before thousands or sitting quietly beside a loved one, she embodies resilience, creativity, and individuality. And even now, as she embraces love with Edwards, she continues to show that life is never finished, that new chapters can always be written, and that joy has no expiration date. Her voice, once doubted for being too deep, still resonates across generations. Her story, filled with pain and triumph, still inspires those who believe they are too different, too flawed, or too late to chase their dreams. Cher has proven again and again that reinvention is not only possible but essential, and that living authentically, loving authentically, is the truest measure of success. And so, as her life continues to unfold, one thing is certain. Cher remains a woman who has defied expectations at every turn, leaving behind not just songs and films, but an example of courage and individuality that will echo far beyond her years. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more about the untold lives of icons like Cher, make sure to like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next story waiting to be told.